So what are my favorite Pokemon games? Today, the J is going to be making a video of what are my favorite Pokemon Generation games. Well, how I'm going to do this is, for example, the remakes of Fire Red, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are going to be included to their own generation, meaning they're going to be, like, for example, Fire Red is Gen 1, not Gen 3, in my opinion. I mean, I know other YouTubers, like Tamashi here. That chick is really pretty, though. But, yeah, I do it that way. I like to consider it Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3. You know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, part of Gen 2, not Gen 4. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, part of Gen 3, not Gen 6. Even though it was made during that generation, I still consider it, part of the originals. Okay, so the top generation, I'm just going to start off with, it's hard for me to say it, but Generation 2 had to be my favorite generation. I'm just going to go with my favorites, okay? Like, my favorite generation from, I don't know, best to weakest, because it's easier for me to do it that way, as far as I remember. So Gen 2 had to be my favorite, only because it had the best storyline, in my opinion. It had the longest storyline. It was basically supposed to be Pokemon 2, and it was by far the greatest damn sequel I have ever played for a video game. I mean, think about it. I know Red and Blue was a good game. Gold and Silver and Crystal just made it better. And then Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the remakes, is like, damn, wow, this is unbelievably great. So, yeah, and I give props to Gen 4 on the graphics improvement for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, because when Generation 4 came out, I was like, wow, this is Pokemon, okay? This is what Pokemon should look like as far as graphical improvement. Like, everyone was shocked during that time. I know Gen 6 pulled off a graphical improvement as well. Things started changing. So, yeah. Why do I say a lot? But I planned this video out very surprisingly. So, my next favorite Pokemon game has got to be probably Gen 3. I really like the Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire. And I love Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I'm more of a fan of the remakes, personally. Well, kinda, but kinda not. I don't know. They both got their pros and cons. I mean, I personally like Heart Gold and Soul Silver better than Gold and Silver and Crystal, in my opinion. And I did like Fire Red, and I did like Fire Red. I never played Leaf Green, better than Red Blue. But I love Yellow. I love Yellow. I don't know if it was on that level. I think it was near that level. I think it was around that level. So I guess it would just be on the same level. But I love Yellow, so I can't really say much. So yeah, Generation 3 is my second favorite generation. Personally, I just love Gen 3. I love Team Aqua. They were like pirates. The music was great. Just like Gen 2, I love the music for Gen 2. It was very nostalgic, in my opinion. I personally like the nostalgia in Gen 2. I think it was a little bit more nostalgic than Gen 1. I don't know. In my opinion, it was more like how time passes by, and you just got that feeling of nostalgia. The music was amazing. I really like the first 3 Gen musics. Gen 4 had some good music too. I don't know. I love all the music soundtracks, but especially the 8-bit music. I love the gym battles for those, the 8-bit music. So yeah, I really like Gen 3. But Gen 2, in my opinion, I wasn't much of a fan of the starters. They were okay, but they weren't as good as Gen 1 starters, in my opinion. And Generation 3 probably had I like Generation 3 starters a lot. It was awesome. I went with Torchic. I was more of a fire starter fan, most of the time. I like Mudkip. I love Grovyle. I love all the 3 starters in Gen 3. That's the thing. Generation 2, I only like 2 out of the 3 starters. I like Totodile and Cyndaquil. Mostly Cyndaquil. And then Generation 1 is kind of the same. I kind of like Squirtle and Charmander. Bulbasaur was alright. A little better than Chikorita, that's for sure. But I don't know. If I had to choose 2 out of 3, yeah, I'd probably go with between Squirtle and Charmander. So yeah, Generation 3 was cool. It did its own thing on the graphics. It kind of just added more color. And you're now able to sprint. That was awesome. The pacing was great, in my opinion. And, okay, so I did Gen 3 now. Sorry. Generation 2 had really... See, I know, I'm going to go off. I'm going to go back and forth a lot. So, Generation 2 had Lance as a champion, and I really like Lance as a champion. And it brought back Red and Blue. I love how they're back, and you get to battle Red in Gen 2. So, yeah, in Generation 3, you get to battle Steven. So, let's see. Generation 1 has to be my next favorite, in my opinion. See, I'm like 2, 3, and 1. So, Generation 1 was awesome, in my opinion, only because, well, it was very nostalgic. I really like Red and Blue. Yellow was just my favorite. Yellow was my favorite Gen 1 game. Besides Fire Red, I don't know. Those two are my top favorites. Music-wise, I did like Yellow. I did like how Pikachu is able to follow you around. And I'm surprised they didn't remake Yellow version. They just went with Fire Red. But at least Metal Claw is something that you can learn when you have a Charmander in Fire Red. So that's what made it. So it made it easier for a Charmander to have easier battles against Brock, for example. I mean, and the gym leaders are very memorable in Gen 1, in my opinion. I can remember almost all of them. Even if I don't remember their names, their faces are just very familiar. So, and I love Giovanni as the leader of Team Rocket. Team Rocket was probably one of my favorite, probably is my favorite team, besides Team Aqua. Archie was cool. But yeah, I really liked the teams, Team Rocket. They were old school. Okay, now my next favorite gen, after Gen 1. My 4th favorite generation is none other than Generation 4. Gen 4 was... See, here's the thing. I'm only naming generations that I played the most out of, and I really like Gen 4. Gen 4 was one of those games that I really played a lot of. I had Platinum version. I know Diamond and Pearl the pacing was a bit slower. Platinum was great. The only downside about Platinum is the pacing. Yeah, of course. Tamashi named it right. Tamashi named it right about everything about Platinum version. And, you know, there were some flaws about Platinum. But I wouldn't say it was the worst Pokemon Generation game. Because when Platinum came out, well, when Diamond and Pearl came out, this was Pokemon. Like, the graphics were just amazing. Like, people were like, wow, this was Pokemon. Okay? And I really like how Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out. Because in my opinion, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver brought the most Pokemon game. King Nappy even said it himself. I don't want to say it, but Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver probably brought the most game into Pokemon, okay? It brought its A game onto the list, okay? Only because you got a fully updated everything of Gen 2 with Generation 4 graphics, and you can add Generation 4 Pokemon into it, and you can go to 2 regions. It's one of those games, and you got the GBA music. I don't think Gen 5 even stepped up to that level. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, man, Gen 5. I love Gen 5. But they didn't remake Diamond and Pearl during Gen 5. Well, they didn't have to, so. But, oh well. Or no, forget what I said about Diamond and Pearl. about the remaking Diamond and Pearl. But yeah, I think Generation 5 didn't step up to the level of Generation 4, in my personal opinion. I mean, they added Triple Battle. I give it that. That was pretty cool, the rotating battles and all that. It added pretty good post-game. I really like the tournament that they have in Gen 5. Okay, yeah, Gen 5 is my next favorite Pokemon. Um, yeah, so Generation 5 was great. Uh, for Generation 4, my favorite starter had to be Chimchar. But when I first played the game, I played as Piplup because I liked Empoleon. Then I went with the grass one. I forgot Turtwig, and then I got Torterra, and then I went with Chimchar, and yes, of course, I love Chimchar the best. So yeah, the problem about Generation 4 is besides the pacing being too slow. I mean, Team Plasma, I didn't really care for them, to be honest. Also, the gym leaders aren't that very memorable. If you have to name any of your favorite gym leaders, a good chance none of them are going to be from Generation 4. I like Volkner, though. He was pretty cool, but at the same time, he reminded me of Minato from Naruto. And I don't know, the gym leaders are pretty easy to beat. In Generation 4, in my opinion, I sweeped right through them like that. Champion Cynthia was amazing. She was very intimidating. She was OP. I had a hard time beating Cynthia. I'm going to be honest with you. I still think Blue was the hardest champion to beat because he will always have the type advantage over you, unless you have Yellow version, but oh well. I downloaded the Yellow version Virtual Console, and I'm excited for, yes, Gold and Silver on Virtual Console to be coming to be coming to Virtual Console. Hopefully they bring in Crystal, because if they bring in Crystal, that's included with Gold and Silver, I'm buying that. That's going to be worth the $10 a month. $10. And then Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I'm going to be sorry, though, because I haven't gotten a chance to really get into Pokemon Sun and Moon. I have Pokemon Moon. I only played, 5 minutes of the game. I got my starter. It was the grass one. Okay, sorry. I had to stare at my phone charger because it was moving on its own. Ghost! Okay, so yeah. Where was I? Yeah, Generation 5 is my next one. Then I don't know. I heard Pokemon Sun and Moon was better than Generation 6. But I've played Gen 6, like Pokemon X, more than I played Moon so far. So I just go to the ones where I put in the most gameplay out of. And I have to say Generation 6 is going to be up there. I'm sorry, but I know Sun and Moon's my last favorite, but, well, it's not really my last favorite, but the reason why I had to put it as my last is because I haven't gotten a chance to play the game. I know why this video is, you guys are probably going to be like, whoa, Sun and Moon is probably one of the best Pokemon games ever. I had to say you're right. I heard the reviews are a lot better in Sun and Moon, but I haven't gotten a chance to play it. Plus, Generation 6 brought in Mega Evolutions. I know Sun and Moon went to a fresh new change as far as taking away the gym leaders and adding something else, and you become the first champion. And the region itself is beautiful. I would say the region itself, I heard, is even more beautiful than, I don't know, you're in Hawaii, but the Aloha region is what it's called. But yeah, Generation 3 had my favorite region. I really love the Hoenn region, and plus you actually have a dad in the game, because, I don't know, you just have a dad. I know people complain that there's too much water in Hoenn, but oh well. Learn to swim. That's all I gotta say. What was my favorite Generation 5 starter? I haven't even said it. I think it was Snivy, or